All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. And I hope I can clear up some myths for you and prevent you from losing a lot of money because of this whole stupid GameStop meme thing going on. Now, before I talk about it, let me just introduce myself. I am Mark. I'm the stock market jobber. As you can see on my my social media, I've been around the block. I know what I'm doing when it comes to trading. I was literally actually a real life market maker, literally for 2 years. And I was literally the head of trading at three different institutions, each for about 5 or 6 years. And guess what? We had hedge funds, we had mutual funds, and I oversaw it all. And I traded for Mario Gabelli directly and Steve Cohen directly. It's like taking piano lessons from Mozart and Beethoven at the same time. And what kind of gets me is that this dude, Roaring Kitty, is being hailed like this, like Robin Hood and so forth. And he is destroying people's money. All right. Let's just face the facts. He's being investigated by Massachusetts, by the SEC, as he should. Let me tell you something. No real life trader would own the stock and own the calls. These are both the things that go in the same direction. Why would you own the stock and the calls? Maybe you own the stock for long term, calls for short term. But do you really believe this dude has $260 million? I don't know. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. I hope he does. But I think it even said that there was some like evidence so far that he bought something because when you have a trading account, it's very monitored. All right, and if this dude makes a post at I don't know, just say 1 o'clock, and it turns out he bought the stock at 12:50, 10 minutes before, and he's doing it to jack the stock up, and then the stock goes up because of his followers, and then he sells them. So you know what? Maybe he does have $260 million because it's like he's got a perfect business model over here. But let me explain to you how this stuff works. All right. I was a market maker. I oversaw the trading of all these funds. A hedge fund can be pretty much any investment strategy. It could be deep value. It could be high frequency. It could be anything. The big difference between, say, a hedge fund and a mutual fund is that in a hedge fund, in addition to management fees, you get performance fees. In other words, a piece of the action. If you're a 2 and 20, which was very common back in my day, I think it's more like a 1 and 10 now. But it would be you get a 2% management fee and you get 10% of what the profits are. I mean, sorry, 20% of what the profits are. So if you're managing $1 billion and you're up, you know, I don't know, 20%, that's $200 million. So that 20% management fee is $40 million. But a hedge fund can be any strategy. The big difference between a hedge fund and a typical fund is the fees. That's it. There are hedge funds that go out of business all the time. Just because someone was a former hedge fund trader doesn't mean they necessarily know what they're doing. As someone who was in that world for so long, I still have a hard time understanding why they're treating with such reverence or whatever. All right, now going back to now let me explain what a market maker is because I was a market maker too. If you're a trader, that's what's on what we call the buy side, which you are. You're a retail trader. You're on the buy side. Doesn't mean you're buying or selling. It means you need to pay commissions to get a trade done, and that's it. So if you're in a hedge fund, a mutual fund, whatever, you got to go through a broker to execute your trade. That's the laws. That's the rules. We can go into that another time for why. All right. What is the market maker? The market makers are the people that specialize in a particular sector or industry. So if I was back in my institutional hedge fund days and I called up my market maker at say Goldman Sachs and I said, listen, dude, I got something to do on, 300,000 shares of XYZ. But I don't want to tell them if I'm a buyer or seller because I don't want to spook the market. And just say the last trade was at 20. I would say, you know what? I got something to do on this many shares. What did I just say? 300,000. I got something to do on this many shares, but I'm not going to say if I'm a buyer or seller. Make me a market. And the guy might say, all right, I will sell you your shares at 21. I will buy your shares at 19. He made me, or she made me a market. That's it. Hedge fund traders, market makers do not go into work every day thinking, how can I rip off the little guy? Guess what? Who's the biggest clients of hedge funds? Pension plans. If you have money in a pension plan, you could be a hedge fund investor. You know what I'm saying? So it really just bothers me about this myth and everything with, you know, if you lose money on a trade, the best traders are are introspective. If you lose money, ask yourself why. It's not because of a market maker. It's not because of a hedge fund. I mean, look at the chart here on GameStop. I mean, just look at the action. The red days are days where the close is lower than the high. So on this particular day, when we came out of, that madness of roaring kitty has reemerged, look at where it opened. Like $65. People paid 65 for this thing. During the day, it dropped to 35. It closed at below 50. Remember, red days open is higher than the close. This thing just opens and it reverses. So all right, I'll give you a little whatever. I'm not 100% being accurate about what goes on. There is a small part of the hedge fund world that is what we call proprietary traders, and they're basically day traders that the fund gives them the fund gives them money to trade, and they get compensated by keeping part of it. But are they manipulating the stock? No. But when they see something ridiculous like this, are they going to sell? I would. All right. Like here, I would. I mean, if you're a trader and you know what you're doing, I've been doing this for 25 years. This is some of the easiest trading I've ever seen. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. And what bothers me is there's a lot of people that are going to lose a lot of money on it. So, anyway, all right, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you have any questions, please contact me on our YouTube page here or Mark at StockMarketJobber.com. And yeah, thanks so much. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock for our morning call.